Shalom, dear friends. Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Finding Shalom, and I'm Christa. And today is just another chat day, talking about peace, talking about revivals, talking about all the fun stuff and the not so fun stuff this week. Just checking in with you guys. The word revival, I know a lot of people online are, is this, this Asbury thing, is this revival? How do we define revival? I think first of all, the Jesus movement probably wasn't even called revival or a movement until hindsight. And looking back, you can't really just sit and analyze everything to the point where it just becomes legalistic. But my idea of what revival is a movement of God that starts to revive the hearts of his people. And for me, this revival has done that. It's revived my hope. It's revived, it's revived a little bit of passion in me. It's revived a little bit of dreams of, even this channel. It's funny because as I was closing down my bridal shop, I had this dream for this channel, and it hadn't even been formed yet. But my dream for the channel was talking about peace, and the fact that it took me years and years and years of searching all over the place and not finding peace in all the places that was promised peace. You look to meditation, and you look towards all the worldly things, like if I just had enough money, then I would have financial peace, or I would have peace. If I could just get this in order, then I would have some peace. If I could clean my house well enough, then I could have more peace. And all of these things do lead to a little bit more peace. But it's not the kind of peace that I had originally set out for this channel. See, I had been walking through years and years and years of depression, anxiety, and frustration. I was going through grieving and all kinds of just past hurts and things that I was bitter on the inside. And I began this process of searching for peace, not finding it, searching for peace, not finding it. And even though the whole time I was a Christian, and the entire time I had the Word of God right in front of me, I still searched everywhere else except for where I ended up finding true peace. And God brought me through a process, and I think it was for a very good reason. And I just began to delve a little deep. God was just opening things up. Like he's like, hey, what about a word of the year? And what if, this year, instead of just focusing on the word and trying to be better yourself, you open up my word, and in the back, you start finding all the verses and how I can help you. This is God talking, how I could help you fulfill the things that you've been trying to fulfill. And then he led me from one, word of the year to the next word of the year. I think my first one was debt. I think I had faith, which was, it was like having patience as your word of the year. And, I think I had rebuild, because I was like, I'm going to rebuild my life. We're going to rebuild this. We're going to rebuild that, that was a really good year. I studied Nehemiah, and he has some great strategies for rebuilding. So if you have the word rebuild, go to the book of Nehemiah. And I did a whole Bible study on him. I had restore. That was an amazing year, because God ended up restoring the home that we had lost. He restored relationships, but he did it little by little all through the year, he would just chisel away. I had this hard heart, this bitter, depressed, anxiety-ridden heart. And through these words and through digging through his word, he just started to chisel. Like, hey, through that verse, did you happen to see that maybe you shouldn't harbor bitterness? Did you see that you care more about other people's opinions than my opinion? Hey, what if we started treating people better in our lives, just chiseling away at that hard heart. And when I got to my word of the year, which would end up to be the word of the year that I have remained to, is Shalom, I was a wreck of, oh my gosh, okay, God, you've restored all these things. You've helped me rebuild all these things in my life. You've helped me get out of debt. You've helped me break through depression and bitterness. But why do I still not have any peace? Why don't I have any peace? And that is the question plaguing so many people today. Whether you are a Christian or not a Christian, whether you're a Buddhist, I don't care who you are, or an atheist. Peace is that one thing that we can't seem to put our finger on. And that is until I unlocked this word Shalom. And it wasn't an overnight journey. Let me just tell you that. I can't even remember how many years. It was fall of 2016 when I stumbled across this word Shalom. I had been looking for a word like rest. I was tired. A word like peace. I really needed some peace in my life, in relationships, in my business I was running. I needed a word like completeness. I needed to be complete. I needed that hole to be filled. I needed tranquility. A vacation in Hawaii. That's what I needed. So I set out searching for my word, and how I do it is I pray. And I pray so hard. I'm like, God, I'm about to enter into a new year. And I usually give it at least a couple months. And I'm like, Lord, just please start showing me. Let me read your word and start having words kind of pop up off the, what do you want me to really focus on this year? And so the fall of 2016, I picked my word for 2017, but decided to do it a little early because I was tired. And I think my word was rebuild, the one before. And you can only rebuild for 9 months, and then you're just like, okay, give me some peace, give me a vacation. And so that's how I picked my word. It just came to me. And I remember walking into a church service. And you might have heard me talk about this, but I have a lot of new people on the channel that may not have heard this. So I'm praying and praying for months, and I can't find the word. And I walk into a church service, and I'm like, I had been thinking, rest is too small of a word. I can't just have rest for my word. I need something bigger. And peace is good, but I need more than peace. And somebody handed me a bulletin at that church service that I went to. And it said the word Shalom in the middle. And then around it were small words. They were rest, tranquility, wholeness, peace, prosperity, joy. It was just all these little words all the way around it. And I was like, all those little words are all the words I've been thinking about and praying about. And here, there's this big word. What is Shalom? I thought, well, it just means peace. I sat through that service and found out that the word Shalom is way bigger than just peace. It's not only peace financially, it's peace in your land. That's why the Jewish people say Shalom when they say hello, and Shalom when they say goodbye. It's because they're wishing someone all of this peace, tranquility, they're sending their wishes to them. So when I say shalom, dear friends, that's what I'm wishing, is that may God surround you with peace, and may he surround you with wholeness and rest. May he give you rest. It's like the 23rd Psalm. May he lay you down by green pastures and still waters. So this little revival thing the last week has got me stirred back up to my original purpose. You could say it's revived my dream for this channel. And isn't that what a revival is about? It's about coming back to what God started. It's about repenting for the time you've wasted, or and I'm not saying I wasted any time. The Bible studies are great, and that's exactly how you find shalom. And so that's the easiest way for me to walk verse by verse, step by step, and walk us through these verses so that we slowly uncover shalom. And we slowly uncover, but it's going to take us years to get there because we are studying this very, very slowly. Our Bible study, I think, is going to be 4 years this June. And we've done Acts, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I know we've done Judges, Joshua and Judges. Trying to think what else we've done. 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, now we're on to Kings. And we're doing Chronicles. But it's going to be a long time. But in 4 years, we are really uncovering the major story that's going on here. So it's important to me that we're linking the story of peace, the story of shalom, and how God wants to bring that into our lives. And so yes, Fridays are super, super important, that we keep going through the Bible, that we keep walking through it step by step. But I've had a hard time with the other days of the week because, number one, I've had a lot of interruptions. I've had a lot of distractions. And then I had discouragement. And then, I, this last month, went through some grieving. Believe it or not, 2 years later, after closing my bridal shop, I started grieving it 2 years later. I guess you can hang on to grief for a very long time if you're too busy to deal with it for a couple of years. But what this week has done for me with this revival is reignite through worship, believe it or not, through just sitting and praising God alongside these people at Asbury, these college students, as they lead worship, listening to their prayers, listening to their confessions, listening to their testimonies, and the little sermons, if you call them that. They're not very long, but just saying, it's time to move out and move forward. After this revival's done, it's time to move out into the world. And that has revived. I hope it's revived you. I know it's revived a lot of people. It's revived hope that a lot of us have really been frustrated with the church and how it just seems like ritual and people going through the motions. There hasn't been people just excited for God. And depending on what part of the country you're in, you could be in a part of the country or a certain church that is excited and passionate. You are so, so lucky to do that, because we here in Idaho, I'm not saying anything bad about the people here, but for 30 years we've lived here, and we just struggle that a lot of times our passion isn't met in other people. We get passionate and they look at us strange. We get excited and they look at us strange. We've struggled with that. And so this has revived my hope that there's people out there that are feeling the presence of God and moving, and not crazily moving. See, that's the other thing. I got a background in both. You know, I feel like I'm right in the middle. I've been in some crazy charismatic movements, and I've been in some really boring, what's the opposite of charismatic, like ritualistic movements, you know? And I feel like sometimes, because I'm an introvert, believe it or not, I am an introvert, I sound more passionate on here because it's just me and the camera, and you guys aren't staring literally at me. So it's a little easier. But I am an introvert, and so I'm a little bit more subdued, and yet I'm passionate. So I'm like, it's weird. So I'm a little too passionate to be in the ritualistic churches, and a little too conservative to be in the super charismatic. So I'm stuck in the middle. And once again, I'm rambling. This is my problem. I ramble because I don't talk a lot in the big world. I just at Bible study I talk a lot because I'm leading it, and here I talk a lot, and then I get quiet. My husband's like, "Why are you so quiet?" Let me take a breath. Okay, where was I going with that? I'm sorry. I'm off on a tangent. Basically, I've noticed that there are two directions that Christians are going. I see this movement all of a sudden in the last couple weeks of true worship, in awe of God, wanting to chase after the things of God. But before I had that hope of the last couple of weeks, what I've seen in a lot of Christians, probably not you, if you're watching this, probably not you, but maybe you've seen it around, that a lot of Christians are doing Christianity the world's way. And there's many different ways that manifests. So we've got God's way, and then we've got Satan's way. And Satan likes to hide things, blur the lines, mix people up, make them think that they're doing things right when they're actually kind of worshiping the devil. He's sneaking things in that are not of God. And the reason he's able to sneak things in is because Christians, we don't know the word. This is the instruction book, and it says don't have any other gods. Don't do witchcraft. Don't have anything to do with divination, with sorcery, with worshiping the stars. And yet now mainstream Christians are kind of venturing over into, and I'd say a lot of Jewish people are it's what they call spiritual. They're kind of getting tangled in this web. How many times do you see, hey, send prayers and good vibes, or positive thoughts, or whatever. There's little things that, like, believe it or not, even meditation. Let me just say what happened this week. I don't know if I want to say where I was, but basically I went to the hairdresser this week, and I have a sweet little Christian hairdresser, and there's a couple other hairdressers in there and everything, and one of them brought up meditation. And there's Christian meditation. The difference between meditation biblically is that to meditate on the Word of God, you are filling your mind with the things of God, and you're meditating on His laws and His promises, on the thankfulness you have for Him. You're meditating on that, so you're filling your mind. The world's meditation is that you empty your mind, and you get rid of those thoughts, and you're just gonna blank it out. The problem is that leaves room for the devil to come in and put things into your mind. And so there's a difference. It's like the same word. Christians meditate, that's meditating on the word. But the world, when they say meditate, that's a different thing. And sometimes they're doing chants that are to other entities. And long story short, I was at my hairdresser's, and she started to tell me that she has tried Reiki. That's a healing thing. It's not Christian. It's not a healing for Christians. It is another religion. One of these days I'll get you some facts on all of that. And then today she was going to a energy clearing. And I've been praying all day for her, because when you enter into some of these other realms like tarot cards, getting your future, when they, what is that? A fortune teller. Somebody reading your palm, getting your, what is that? Your sign, your astrological sign, or looking at astrology to see all those things. The Enneagram. There's so many things. You guys can help me list some below. Those are things that are disguising themselves as good, and they are not good. They are of another spirit, other spirits. You're opening, a Christian who opens the door to those, opens the door to evil spirits in their life and in their families' lives. And so this week I just am seeing, and I've been seeing that forever. In fact, that's why I've lost so much hope in the church lately. I've lost so much hope. I thought, well, maybe it's just over. Maybe it's the end of the world and there's no hope to bring some of these even so-called Christians back to this, guys. Back to one God. That I don't worship anything but one God. I don't have any other idols or no other gods before me. I don't say God's name in vain. The basics. This is the plumb line. If you are in building it all, that's your plumb line. It's your foundation. It's what you base everything on. And when somebody says, hey, why don't you come and do some yoga with me? It all seems innocent. Churches are even doing yoga. And yet the word yoga actually has to do with, it's a word meaning to worship or to join together, basically your spirit with this other spirit. And it's just, I don't want to get into all the details, but today what I was thinking of is how there's two different paths before us. And sometimes they both look good and they both look Christian. And God is saying, hey, this is the way to go and this is the way to heaven. Jesus, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. In other words, there's not another way to heaven. You either go this way or you just have a false hope. Or you go somewhere that kind of looks spiritual and looks like it, but you're kind of going down, So anyways, I wanted to chat about that, about how there's a true path this way and this way. And we have to choose every day what we're going to do. And we can't choose properly without knowledge, because we can be tricked. Because some of that stuff looks really, really good. On the outside, some of the stuff looks like it would bring you peace. And that brings me right back to the purpose of this channel. One reason I got a little bit discouraged is because I have an answer to peace. Now I can fall and not be peaceful at the moment because I allow my flesh to kind of win over. But when I'm doing things God's way, and I'm following his way to peace, I have a peace that surpasses all understanding. And I have a peace that no matter what's crumbling around me and the world's in chaos and there's sorrow and brokenness and darkness all around me, I still feel at peace. And yet, the reason why I've been so discouraged is because when I try to share that peace with people, so many people have tainted and lied about the Bible. They've said it's not trustworthy, that it was just written by men, things have been changed in it. It's all lies. And they've made this out to be, they made real Christians be out to be bad guys, and this to be nonsense. And they did that because this other road to peace over here, you're like, well, this one, it actually looks kind of peaceful. Do some meditation, call on your spirit. What are those? Not the gurus, the person leading you, or, let me cleanse your spirit. Let me tell you your future. I promise you peace. See this peace? But you open that door, behind that door is not true peace. It's destruction. It's evil spirits. It's a fraud. It's got a fake front. And yet this path kind of looks boring, maybe uphill. It's tainted with a lot of weird religious Christian stuff in front that people screwed up on, like the Crusades and Hitler, and it looks horrible because Satan's worked really hard to disguise that gate. Like, don't go over here. Hitler was a Christian and look what he did. And don't go over here. Remember the Crusades? Those people. And what about that person down the church at the church? They're a Christian and they were mean. And what about that? And what about that? And what about, because humans have screwed it all up. But behind that facade that doesn't look good is the true treasure. It's the treasure that it's like an Indiana Jones movie. You got to get past all the snakes and stuff, and then you start getting to this. This has got meat. It's gold. It's a true treasure, and you find out, oh my gosh, this was behind that icky gate. This was the true treasure. And this, the facade, you chase it and you chase it and you chase it and you chase it, and well, what if I just get some crystals, and then I gotta use these crystals, and then I've gotta do this spell and do that spell, and what if I do this, and maybe there's some herbs, maybe there's and I'm not saying anything bad about herbs, because God made some herbs that are amazing that will, I like natural stuff. God made all of that, but Satan's kind of distorted it. And crystals, they're nothing more than pretty rocks. So there's nothing wrong with the crystals themselves. It's that they've made them into something they're not. It's a promise. It's pretty, it smells good, like all of the beautiful herbs and all of that. Anyways, just to say, Jesus is the gate. The gate is beautiful. It's what Satan has put all in front of that gate that is keeping people away. And this week, I saw some of that yuck in front of that beautiful gate peeled away. And a group of young Christians found out. They opened the gate and found how amazing it is. They found peace and healing. Some of them were healed from pornography. Some of them were healed from past hurts, rape, all of the hurts of their past, and the way, or maybe stuff that they did, and they had to ask for forgiveness to get over to the gate. But then they found Jesus, the gate, and they got through. And watching them for the last 2 weeks has just given me hope. It's revived my hope. And if that's not a revival, I don't know what is. It's revived a lot of people's dreams and hopes, and it's revived their healed selves, their peace. It's revived their peace. That's a revival. And let's just hope that the fruit continues and that we can take that excitement and pass it on. Let's talk to other people about it. Let's tell them that the front facade of that towards Christianity, that everybody's messed up, inside that gate, that Jesus's gate, it's a gate of gold and a treasure in there. And beyond that is heaven and God and a relationship with somebody who can give you true peace. Don't be chasing all of this stuff that's just gonna fall short. Your first trip there, it might be amazing because it's all pretty. But I've seen people, as they've chased that and chased it and chased it, they used to come into my bridal shop. My little bridal shop was in downtown, and we had homeless people, we had drug addicts, we had people who were demon possessed walk through our doors. And I watched as they rubbed their crystals and tried to find peace past anxiety, depression, poverty, and they were lied to. That's not the way to peace. So I feel revived, and I hope the Holy Spirit will be with me to begin really making some more videos about peace and how we find the hard stuff, or the peace past the hard stuff, how we find true peace that's gonna last. Let's not find the stuff that gives you a sugar high. Let's find the nutrition that gets you to true peace. Thank you for listening to me ramble again. I just feel really amazed this week and just so grateful. I feel revived. I feel like there's a revival, and I hope it's affecting you as well. Tell me in the comments, and please like this video if you liked anything I said, or if I was crazy, you could even tell me in the comments I'm crazy, or give me a little hello in the comments. It does help the algorithms. It does help my channel. It gives me a little encouragement to keep going, because I do at times get incredibly discouraged that all of my work is not going anywhere. So I would just appreciate it. Subscribe, like, click the bell, and give me a little comment. And tell me if you've found real peace, or tell me if you've been looking for a long time and can't seem to find it, because I'd like to point you in the right direction. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week. Shalom, my dear friends.